You know, the material is really interesting to me because it's an organic, dead part of the cow. And, you know, the cow itself, for me, has a connection to every civilization in the world. Everyone right now has some kind of a connection or has had some kind of an interaction with the animal, whether it's through wearing it in shoes, eating it. So it's a universal symbol to me. So I think that it's become something that allows me to show other people how connected we all are. I think representing other people is very complicated. The politics of representation are very complex. And so it just made sense to me to use the closest thing to me, which happens to be my own body. And I just happen to be a woman, so it's a female body. But also, I think what's become interesting is to understand attraction and repulsion and what makes people think that they like or dislike something. So seeing this completely hairy female form is not necessarily something that everyone would like, but there's an interest somehow. So that kind of push and pull of the attractive versus the repulsive is what I'm interested in. Emabutro is the word that would be used for an army, so young men who are soldiers. And I use this title because in Swazi tradition, there would be male characters. And so using myself as the mold and creating this army of myself is what I was thinking about. So the whole idea of protecting and also being in a confrontation at the same time is what I was thinking about in that work. And then umqedo is a pendant that a man would wear. It's made out of reeds. So it's a pendant that one would wear as the finishing of an outfit. So it's the last thing that you would wear as you were getting dressed in the morning. And it's said that that element is what protects you. So thinking about that whole idea of protection as well is what I was thinking about.
Je travaille beaucoup avec la performance, au-delà du fait que je fais des installations, des dessins, des œuvres monolithes, mais j'aime beaucoup associer à mes expositions une dimension performative, c'est-à-dire susciter plus d'émotions avec le spectateur. Ici, on a deux installations dans lesquelles je fais intervenir la performance. D'abord, de Unfinished Theater est un récit global de mise en scène qui est regroupé comme sur une estrade, une plateforme de théâtre, et que le spectacle est joué par la disposition des sculptures qui sont sur le podium. Il y a une dimension politique, il y a un rapport nord-sud avec le bateau qui transporte les éléments du sud dont l'Occident en a besoin, tels que les matières premières, le diamant, la banane, la richesse du sous-sol, mais en même temps, il y a l'exportation des populations qu'on fait retourner. Il y a cet avion baptisé Charter Air Mamadou. Donc, je montre là deux thèmes très puissants sur l'estrade, c'est l'importation des produits et l'exportation des êtres humains. Mais il y a aussi une série de performances tout autour, qui sont des photographies que j'ai réalisées de 96 à 98, et de 98-99. Donc je me suis déguisé. Il y a une dimension de provocation dans ces performances, parce que je me déguise petit à petit comme un terroriste, avec une cartouchière remplie de bonbons carambar. Je me déguise comme un éboueur, un balayeur de la ville de Paris, quand je prends le TGV à la gare de Cologne en tenue de balayeur et que je m'installe en première classe dans un train où des gens respectueux sont assis en première classe. Et je veux juste voir comment ils vont juger cette personne qui a un autre statut de balayeur et qui se retrouve en première classe. Et donc j'ai introduit dans un autre environnement différent, un élément qui va perturber les populations qui sont en première classe. Et du coup, je vois comment cette population de première classe va se lever petit à petit pour aller s'asseoir ailleurs, parce qu'ils n'acceptent pas, parce qu'elles n'acceptent pas cette différence des classes, parce qu'elles n'acceptent pas que ce balayeur, dans sa tenue de balayeur, puisse s'asseoir à côté d'eux. Et donc ça a une dimension de racisme social de notre société que je mets en exergue avec cette performance. Climbing Down, cette installation avec des lits a été créée en Europe. Mais elle est beaucoup plus montrée en Europe parce que je fais des expositions actuellement en Europe. Mais cette œuvre prend son sens plus fort dans le contexte africain, s'il est montré en Afrique. Ce n'est pas dire que cette œuvre ne doit pas être montrée en Occident. Elle doit être montrée en Occident, bien sûr, pour que les gens puissent voir, pour que les gens puissent découvrir l'expression des artistes. Mais le sujet et le message est plus à une autre communauté qui n'est pas ici, qui est ici en partie, bien sûr. Mais après, là où l'œuvre est importée, là où l'œuvre est exposée, ce n'est pas très important. Mais elle prendra certainement une autre dimension là où le sujet est plus fort.
You know, nature gives every human being a role to play in life. And it happened to be that by nature, I am created to be a photographer. And being a photographer does not mean that I have to cover all aspects of photography. I am not a war photographer. I am a civil photographer, and I have urge to document culture, not wars and civil strife. When I was developing in photography, I have stayed in 2 cities in Nigeria. And later on, when I became an advertising photographer, and from there, I became a member of the Nigerian Art Council, which was responsible for organizing various art activities throughout the country. We used to have the festival at various locations. And during that period, I was going to any location where there's art festival. So I developed interest in documenting Nigerian culture. And I saw that I have more than thousands of negative on Nigerian hairstyles. So it came to my mind that this could be a very interesting publication. So I started to look for publishers. Fortunately and unfortunately, for a very long period, more than 30 years, I had this dummy. I could not get publisher. Until 1998, a French curator by name André Mayan came to Nigeria, was looking for a photographic artist. Some people who knew that I made a large collection of Nigerian hairstyle, and my colleague, who knows my house, met him, Mr. Tamfiofori, brought the curator to my house. And when he saw the sample of the hairstyle, he made sign of the cross, said, "This is exactly what I'm looking for."
The idea of transition, change, displacement, memory is very crucial to every human being on the planet, because we always keep certain memories of things. And also dealing with memory, we constantly trying to find if it's the truth or not. Is it really what I remember? And sometimes when we're with someone else, the person might have experienced the same thing, but have a different memory of what it is. So in a way, that memory for me is something that is very particular and unique to each person. There are also a kind of memories that are shared communally in a community, but the individual memory has its own flavor and its own direction. So for me, that aspect of memory is important because of also the idea of displacement. I moved from Nigeria, I moved to Europe, and keeping a certain memory of where I come from is a very crucial part of also understanding who I am and understanding where I'm going to or where I will go back to. I was invited by Kiasma Museum for the Ars 11, and I visited the space here in October, end of October, I think 26th of October. Looking at the space and looking at the works I would be showing, which are the Alterscape series, I decided it felt like I needed something more softer in the space. And on the second day of visiting the space, I knew that I would make a textile piece. So now we have to make a kind of sculptural structure behind that in which the textile will be placed on. So when you look at the textile and the drawing, it becomes a much more sculptural wall on this wall. So to change also the dimension of the original wall to give it another aspect and to also give volume, a certain kind of sculptural volume to the drawings. The title of the work is called Fragilologist's Predicament. And this, the word fragiologist is, for me, it's an invented word that I invented because I tried looking for what kind of word can you use to say, to talk about fragility and the science of fragility. So the whole work is connected. The drawing is about the strings that are going around, and you have possibilities that a hand might cut it, and if it cuts it, everything in the idea falls apart. So it's really talking about this fragility of space, fragility of materials, and when we look at what's happening also at this point in time in the world with like Japan and the nuclear and the tsunamis and all these things, it shows how fragile the surface on which we're living in and how things can at one point in time break down. And I think the study of, or the science of fragility could be something that could be interesting to look at how things are really fragile and how it affects the north, south, east, west.
I think it was in 2008, I saw a photograph in a National Geographic article about electronic waste and the recycling of electronic waste. And it was a broad photo essay from all over the world, but one of the images was taken at the Agbogbloshie market outside of Accra. And this picture really resonated with me, and it stuck with me, and I eventually decided that I was going to go to this market and photograph it. And while researching it, I found that actually a lot of photographers have been there before me, and subsequently a lot of photographers have been there after me. This didn't really bother me. I wanted to go photograph this place in a more meditative and contemplative style and bring a slowness and a stillness to the images and not have the urgency of photojournalism in these pictures. It's a very strange place. You have children living on top of discarded computer monitors. You have cattle and cows living on top of the computers. The recycling of the computers basically means children burn the computers to get the copper and the lead out of it. Annually, about 50 million tons of electronic waste gets exported to be recycled, and some of it to bridge the digital divide between the developed and the developing world. Unfortunately, this isn't really what happens. A lot of it just ends up on places like this in Agbogbloshie, where it gets turned, the storage of our memories gets turned into copper and lead, and very elemental commodities. All my work, in some way or another, deals with two things: marginality and power relationships. Marginality that's a personal preoccupation of mine. And it's, that's my personal element in all my work. And in this way, you have this marginal community that live on the outskirts of a city, sifting through our technological salvation to find copper and lead. And power, in all my other works, and this as well, whether it's power between man and animal, such as in the hyena and other men, or in this instance, it's a power imbalance relationship between the countries that export this technological waste and the places where it ends up to be recycled. To me, there's something quite strange in the West's obsession with obsolescence. We need to keep upgrading our technology, and somehow I think we believe, or we'd like to believe, that our salvation is going to be found in science and technology. And that is possibly true, but at the same time, there's a flip side to this coin, and the Agbogbloshie market is where our obsession with technology and the obsolescence thereof ends up.
Le choix des éléments ne vient pas de moi. Quand je dis, mais l'art est dans la nature. Hein? L'art étant dans la nature, c'est l'art qui fait l'artiste. Ce n'est pas l'artiste qui fait l'art. L'artiste est un missionnaire. Toutes mes installations prennent naissance de l'architecture de la ville qu'on m'a invité. C'est-à-dire, pour travailler, quittant chez soi pour aller travailler dans un autre pays, il faut d'abord faire l'étude du pays dans lequel on est invité. Je ne peux pas me mettre à la place de l'histoire finlandaise, mais venu, c'est-à-dire invité à un débat tout en faisant mes recherches, je peux confirmer l'histoire finlandaise par des éléments que la terre finlandaise m'est présentée. C'est-à-dire, si je place aujourd'hui l'histoire européenne à côté de l'histoire africaine, c'est pour faire comprendre aux Africains que l'armée n'est pas ce qu'ils croient. Bon, Napoléon a fait la révolution, mais la révolution, et de la manière que Napoléon avait fait la révolution, n'est pas de la manière que les militaires africains font la révolution. La révolution napoléonienne est une révolution culturelle. Et quand on parle de la révolution culturelle, c'est pour dire que la révolution culturelle est une révolution qui fait voir aux gens ce que les gens devaient voir et ne voient pas.